If you like games with a ton of mechanics, then the Slormancer has you covered. With 3 different characters, tons of items, and a skill tree for everything, there's plenty to do in the game. I'm going to run them all down for you, but first, why the heck are we even here? Well, it starts off normal enough. Recruited by the local hero to kill skeletons in the graveyard of Adreert, so the Gravekeeper can get back to work. The job is way below the skill level of someone with any skill, and that's where our new adventurers come in. There's a knight, wizard, or archer to choose from, and you'll have to play through a bit of the game before the 2 you do not choose are available for a swap. More on that later. Anyway, after showing up for your mission briefing, something weird happens, and not only is the hero dead, but everyone in the town has been zip-zapped into the Shadow Realm. You're pretty much the only one left to save the entire town from the Slormancer. Time to step up, clear out the monsters, and rescue anyone you can. The path through the game is pretty much the same as the original mission. Head in the graveyard and fight. The game breaks up the graveyard into multiple sections, and each one is a mission to go on. These are long, winding hallways with a ton of enemies in them. There's some variety, but it's a slog to get through them since every area feels pretty much the same. Even when switching to a new mission, it still feels all too familiar. One key thing to understand is that all the enemies drop Slorm, and that it's required to upgrade everything. Slorm is going to come up a lot as I go over these mechanics. Now that we have the premise out of the way, it's onto the unbelievable amount of systems in the Slormancer. I'll run them all down one by one so we can make sure to get to them all. Up first are the items. There's a constant supply of new items you'll need to compare to what you're wearing. And since you can equip 11 different items, I usually build up a small inventory before going through them all. It's kinda like Diablo or any other game where you're constantly picking up new loot and comparing it. In fact, there are 3 different panels of character stats if you really want to get in there. The main weapon is different though. Instead, these drop when you close portals to the Shadow Realm. All the weapons are called Slorm Reapers, and there's a lot more than expected. You start with a fairly basic one, but you'll find more with special stats and skills. For example, the Ancestor Legacy staff will shoot penetrating magic balls every 1 minute. I found that Slorm Reaper extremely useful. Even if the attack damage isn't as high, automatic attacks can help in fights where the monsters gang up on you. Also, the more you use the weapon, the more powerful it becomes. It's exciting finding a random weapon that is more powerful or suits your style more. However, the weapon levels do feel a bit pointless. Your weapon is only collecting Slorm from enemies to keep up with the ramping difficulty of the game. And that's okay, since mostly you'll be fiddling with your skills. There isn't a default attack, even though if the first one feels like it. You get more skills as you level up, and you can replace the first one, and even equip a second. The skills are the focus of the game, and it's important to find something you like if you're going to enjoy the Slormancer. If that wasn't enough, you also get to put points into their upgrade trees. The upgrades use your collected Slorm, so spend wisely. Also, you can only have 1 active per row, which makes it a little more complicated when choosing. Not only that, but the entire row doesn't unlock as you go. There's a lot of Slorm, but not enough to spend it on skills you don't want. We're not done yet. There are even more mechanics. Your character can level up, which gives you points to spend in one of these 8 stats. Yep. Any of them you want, no matter which character you choose. It's kind of nice, and the game lets you swap between them whenever you want. Compared to everything else, this mechanic is more straightforward. But choosing where to spend the points should be paired with one of the 3 character classes. It's another character customization you can make. There's an entire tree and a special skill that goes along with each of the 3 classes. Could there be more? Well, I'm glad you asked. There is one final spaghetti skill tree, the Ancestor Legacy tree. Reminds me of the skill tree in Path of Exile, but you need special items to unlock nodes before you can spend Slorm on the skills. Where exactly these items come from is something I don't want to spoil, so you'll have to find out for yourself. Whew, alright, that's finally everything. Is it a little too much? Well, for me, it is. I end up losing track of something since there's so much upkeep. Also, I wish the systems worked together more to create awesome. Choosing the skills is nice and does add some customization, but it isn't a huge impact on the gameplay. You're still doing exactly the same thing at almost the exact same power level. Still, the amount of choices is going to be enticing to some players, and I did enjoy considering everything carefully. Anyway, the combat in the Slormancer is the weakest part. It's a little slow, and there are lengthy skill cooldowns. As the archer, I had a single bow shot, or I could rain arrows down in an area. The rain of arrows didn't do much damage, and it was difficult to aim, and the cooldown was so long I didn't want to use it. But as I mentioned before, there are other skills to use. There are a few other issues like melee skills do not feel powerful, and mana usage isn't really something you need to worry about. They need to tidy the combat up and or work on the skills to make them more hard-hitting. Otherwise, the game is repetitive since you're fighting the same monsters over and over and over and using the same skills. So what's missing from the Slormancer? What makes it a game in early access? It's the lack of content. Once you get to the second area, the game will not let you continue. I prefer missing content to anything else, though. The game still has an unlimited mode where you can collect new weapons. You can also replay the first area with all 3 characters. Overall, the Slormancer is fun if you like games with mindless combat, and this game has a ton of mechanics to hold your interest. I'm impressed with how much they were able to squeeze in, although I'm sure they've been working on it for quite some time. The unlimited mode is good too, along with all the weapons you can find in that mode. I'm incredibly optimistic that the Slormancer is going to be wonderful on full release. But if you haven't subscribed yet, you definitely should for more indie game reviews, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching.